A competitor releases something eerily similar to your work. Walk away or walk through it.
I have no competitors.
Melody Ehsani is the visionary and entrepreneur behind Me, a streetwear brand specializing in jewelry, footwear, and clothing.
Like, you have to be so strong mentally to choose who you are and what your mission is and what you're meant to be doing and what level at which you want to do that at.
I met Melody through a really good mutual friend. My first time meeting her, she actually came to my house.
Me has also launched a series of successful collaborations with the likes of Jordan Brand, Beats by Dre, Scenario, Lauryn Hill, and Reebok, just to name a few.
She said one thing to me one time, and she was like, "You eat what you want to be available for." And I was like, wait, what does that mean exactly?
So without further ado, let's welcome Melody to the studio. And my first line of business is to figure out if she remembers the first time we met. It's really easy, and answer the question.
What does having a good life mean to you? Well.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Do Tell Relationship Podcasts. Today's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with Melody Ehsani. She, first of all, I met Melody through a really good mutual friend. And my first time meeting her, she actually came to my house. This was way back when I had time to have guests and friends just randomly join me for little pool dips and hot tub situations. And I feel like we kind of hit it off. I knew immediately at that time she was someone really cool. Plus, my friend knows me really, really well, and there was no way she was bringing anybody to my house that wasn't an absolute gem. It's kind of like an unspoken kind of thing where I like to protect my energy, protect my space, and make sure that, everything is always going to be like copacetic. So Melody was a wonderful addition to our little girls' night. We talked about so many things. I was amazed initially by how open she was about her life and where she was and different transitions. And it just ended up being one of those really cool catch-up moments. I don't even know if she remembers it. So, I mean, she has to remember coming to my house. I don't know if I would forget going to someone's house. But when she comes in, I'm going to ask her, and what was her impression from our little meeting the first time. I just recently got to see Melody at the Multitudes Wellness Brunch that I hosted for our foundation, Why Not? And she was a panelist of ours. So we got to start our conversation, and she just was wonderful. And before we booked her on the panel, I also knew I wanted her to come join and have a conversation with all of us about her path. I think she's like the true definition of someone who's carving her own path. She's such a boss babe, and she's done so many incredible things in the fashion industry. I think it's so interesting because she has a really cool fashion brand called Me. And it's all about inclusion, self-expression, being true to yourself, tapping into that creative side, and combining the creative with the spiritual side of things, and really like letting that lead you in your creativity. So I feel like it'll be really great because obviously, as you all know, my husband has a clothing brand called Honor the Gift, and I get to see how difficult it is and how much work and planning really goes into being a creative director and a founder of a really cutting edge streetwear brand. Melody has done some wonderful things like partnering with Jordan Brand. I think she did some creative directing for Foot Locker. She's also had some really cool collaborations with Beats by Dre, and the list goes on and on. Lauryn Hill, which is one of my favorite all-time musicians. And I think you don't get to that level in life without knowing something or having something. I feel like when people see in you what your abilities are and they see that genuine realness that I think she encompasses, then you want to work with her and you want to figure out what that thing is and what makes her tick. And so you all are going to get a really good insight into what makes this person such an amazing human. She leads with purpose, and she's a friend, and she's just a human trying to figure out like the rest of us. And so she's here to share a little bit more about her journey. So without further ado, let's welcome Melody to the studio. And my first line of business is to figure out if she remembers the first time we met. Welcome to Do Tell Relationship Podcast.
Thank you.
Don't laugh at me.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at both of us.
I know. I feel like this is definitely not our thing. This is like not our normal, like our happy place, I feel like.
No, it could be. Let's try. Let's go. It was before we knew the cameras were on. I think that neither of us are really like, I don't know. Actually, I can't speak for you, but I'm not really a personality.
I'm not either.
Really?
I mean, no, I don't think so. I feel like I'm pretty chill, and normally I'm not really. We're the shy, the quiet ones, the observant ones. For those of you who don't know, this is Melody Ehsani, and she's joining us today, and we're gonna have a really great episode because you have so many wisdom, like little nuggets of wisdom, and I really enjoy your perspective on spirituality, creativity, combining all the things. And we have so much in common. I promised everyone the first thing I was going to ask you is if you remember when we first met.
I don't remember the exact. I remember we met through Carrie, right?
We did.
Yes, but I don't remember under what circumstances.
I was like, if I were her, I would certainly remember because I'm pretty sure you came to my house.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did come to your house.
You came to my house.
And you guys were swimming.
We were swimming.
Yes. And I didn't have a swimsuit.
No. Okay, I didn't remember that detail.
Yeah, I
remember we were outside hanging out. And let's go back to your first impression. Why are you laughing? Let's go back to your first impression.
Of you?
Yeah, just because it's pretty bold to go to a random person's house you've never met. So.
Well, to be fair, I trusted Carrie. I mean, I love Carrie. And I don't think she would ever take me somewhere, introduce me to somebody that wasn't solid for her. And I knew of you before I had met you. Mm-hmm. And so I think I was looking forward to meeting you in a way. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know, when I found out we were going to your house, I was like, are you sure it's okay? Does she know that I'm coming? Like all the things. And then it was fine. I mean, I was obviously very observant. I'm always the person that needs an invite. Like I don't just show up places. I need to know that I belong or I'm wanted somewhere. Mm-hmm. So I think I was more concerned about that and then just kind of feeling you out and making sure you were comfortable with me being there. What about you?
So funny. Okay, so number one, I said the same thing. I love Carrie because I don't normally have people I don't know come to my house.
Right.
But I was like, I know Carrie and I love her. And it's kind of like this unspoken thing amongst friends where it's just trust, you know? And if she said she has a friend and, you know, she wants to come, she's hanging out with her friend, I'm like, the more the merrier because her people are my people kind of a thing.
Right.
So we share that in common. And then I felt like I was surprised how open you were. I feel like for just having met someone, you're really vulnerable in our conversations. We talked about a lot of like really, I think, deep things.
Wow.
At that time, I'm not going to get into them. I promise I'm not going to share what I remember from that time. But I remember you in a transition. You were like in this transitional period in life. So there were a lot of questions and things you were like figuring out and working through at the time.
I don't remember at all. That's incredible that you remember.
Yeah. After, I'll tell you what I remember.
I can't wait.
But it's kind of been cool to see you and the evolution of you and your journey after that first time we met.
Right.
Because I feel like a lot of the things that were coming to fruition over all of the years and getting to kind of just see you thrive and just be amazing. It's been really cool.
Thanks. Wow.
I
Just
know.
took me all the way back.
I know.
Now you have me in that era.
Sorry, I don't know if it's a good
bring it
era.
back. No, it was. It was
Okay.
a good era.
Okay,
It was
good.
a good era.
We should probably get into like the first part of our show, which is normally a this or that. It's like a rapid fire, but we call it walk away or walk through it.
Okay.
And I'm just going to ask you a couple questions and then you can respond.
Okay.
However you feel.
Okay.
Okay. So the first question is you a creative project you poured your heart into isn't received the way you hoped. Walk away or walk through it.
Walk through it.
Great. Concise. You're experiencing some type of creative block, but the pressure is there to keep producing in order to hit your deadline. Walk away or walk through it.
Oof. That's hard. It could be both. It could be either. Usually I try to walk through it. But I'm also not mad at walking away from it if I need to.
I love that. It has to be in line with your
Yes.
vision. Yeah, it's important not to compromise the integrity of your work,
Yes.
even for deadlines.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Ooh, a business decision that makes sense financially doesn't sit right with you creatively. Walk away or walk through it.
Walk away.
Love that. Oh, this is a good one. And this is the last one. A competitor releases something eerily similar to your work. Walk away or walk through it.
I have no competitors.
Great job. I'm
Walk
done.
away. Walk away.
That was like the perfect answer for that. I love that. It's just the quiet confidence I'm telling you guys. It's so funny. I was literally describing all of this before you got here, and you're just making me sound like I'm a genius right
Because you
now.
are. You've always been a genius.
You're so wonderful. This is great. The amount of compliments since you've been here. I love it.
I know. I'm trying so hard not to be the one that interviews you because I have so many questions.
Oh my,
so
Phil,
I'll just
please
let you.
ask me any questions. I think that any way this conversation goes, it's going to be good. So
I will.
please feel free. Throw it back at me. Do you need a break? Do you want to
No, I'm good.
have a sip of your...
My matcha?
Yeah, let me have a sip of water. She's so funny. Like,
is
you're
so-
so lucky you get to talk to her every
Oh,
day.
no. So, do you mind if I tell her about you? So, Julie and I have been best friends for how long? Almost 20 years, right?
Wow.
But we started off having a working relationship. Mm-hmm. Because Julie is an incredible medical intuitive.
Oh.
And so when I was dropping out of law school, I wanted to drop out of law school. I got really depressed and I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. And one of my friends was like, oh, you should call this woman. And I was like, well, what does she do? And she's like, she's a medical intuitive. And I was like, I don't know what that means. But I was so desperate. I was like, I'll call anybody. Mm-hmm. And I called her, and like 1 hour session like changed my life. It was like the first time anybody had ever mirrored me, like really saw me for who I was versus like people projecting or whatever. Anyway, long story short, after like 5 years of working together or something like that, I started bringing her out here to do workshops and stuff for like my people. And then, and then I kind of like convinced her into being friends with me. I was like, this is great, but you're going to be my friend. I don't know if you know this or not yet.
That's not a hard sell.
Yeah.
That is not a hard sell.
Anyway,
Okay.
when you were like, I love that you're so vulnerable. And she knows that's like one of my biggest issues is that I'm not vulnerable.
Okay.
I try so hard not to be.
Not to be vulnerable?
Vulnerable. Like I'm terrified of being vulnerable.
But why do you think, well
it's
the other thing is like, I think that it's Russell laughs at me because he says, it's the weirdest thing. Like everyone tells you all their secrets. Mm-hmm. Like I can be anywhere talking to anyone, and for whatever reason, people tell me their life stories. And he's always like, "Can we go?"
Yeah.
Like, it's
why do you
time
think
to go.
that is?
I don't know. People just feel safe with me, I think. And maybe that was an instance where,
Yeah, I
also
felt
it
safe
was
with
vulnerable for you to come into my space is also me being vulnerable,
Right.
and we're in this.
We were both vulnerable
Yeah,
together,
we were
so
in
it
this
felt
safe
like a
space.
safe space.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your children were there. Like, that was a big deal. It's a big deal. It's like now that I have a kid, it's even more of a big deal who comes into my house because they're so sensitive to energy that it almost like makes you more, like it makes you have to tune in more even to be aware of them. So it was a really big deal for you to allow me. And you were swimming. It's like all the things.
I know. And that's the other thing about kids is like, you kind of, there's a lot that goes out of the window when you have kids.
Yes.
Like you there's so much that you want to keep to yourself before you have kids, and then the boundaries really get blurred once you have kids.
Tell me more.
Just the experience in itself. Like you have to like take it all the way back through pregnancy. You're relying on people to take care of you.
Right.
Through childbirth, you're relying on people heavily to take care of you.
Right.
Through the most vulnerable, you're in the most vulnerable position you'll probably ever be in.
Yes.
You are in this most vulnerable time in your life, like where you maybe don't feel as confident or safe. You don't know what's going to happen. There's so much uncertainty. So emotionally, you're needing people to kind of like help take care of you. And then also physically, you need help with people helping to take care of you. That means like they've seen everything, touched everything, wiped everything, cleaned everything. Like there's nothing left to the imagination.
Not wiped everything.
Just all the things. It depends on your journey, like, you know. And once that happens, and Robert's fine, he has kids.
Yeah.
Once that happens, you kind of are like, oh, really, nothing is really that deep.
Yeah, that's true.
You become a little bit more open, I suppose, and vulnerable because you've been through the most vulnerable experience.
Yeah, I could see that. That's true. Especially after breastfeeding. Like I used to be so conservative, you know, like I've always enjoyed like a more preppy sort of like baggy ever since I was a kid. But after breastfeeding, like I don't care who sees what. I'm just like, I have a different kind of like laxity about my body even.
Exactly.
That I didn't have before.
Exactly. I think that happens to us naturally. I mean, so much has changed. What do you think is like the biggest change or the one thing that you approach differently that you can directly tie back to motherhood and your journey to becoming a mom?
Oof. I think there's so many things. It's hard to answer one, but I think the biggest thing is maybe how much more preference I have now. Like before, I feel like I used to say yes to a lot more. I used to be a lot more like, sure, I'll do that. I'll try that. And now I have this clarity about my time and how I want to use it and my energy because my child takes up so much of my energy that I only do the things that I absolutely want to do or love to do, or the things that I know will give energy back to me because I literally don't have the resources to do otherwise. And so if it's not benefiting me or my child or my life in some way, I'm not even willing to really go there. Whereas before I used to convince myself that I could, and now there's no like convincing myself of that.
I think that's really great. And I feel like so many of us kind of experience that, where I feel like you just become more comfortable saying no.
Yeah.
And also, like, children take up so much time. They become all of your time, and they take up all of your time and energy, and you learn to be very selective. Like, time has never been more important than when you have children.
True.
And so valuing your time is really great. And that's why I'm so appreciative that you're here.
Yes.
I just tapped on you a few days ago to come speak and talk to an amazing, group of women and inspire them. So I'm happy everyone's kind of getting to hear you now through the podcast.
Thanks.
What would you say is like the biggest way, or how have you used motherhood as a way to, how has your path or your creative process changed or altered in any way since becoming a mom?
It's changed in every single way. I mean, well, first of all, I didn't plan on becoming a mother. I actually had kind of mourned motherhood because I grew up always wanting to be one. And then I went through my entire 30s and I didn't find somebody that I wanted to have kids with or partner with. And at the end of my 30s, I finally found somebody. I got married, but he's a lot older than I am. And he had 2 older kids, like grown kids, and didn't really want to do it again. Like didn't want to start over, or so he thought. And so I went through this like intense like mourning, like, okay, I'm just going to be the best auntie, the best stepmom. And then we got this little miracle surprise gift. And then it just sort of like put me in survival mode in a way, and also took me all the way back to school. Like I felt like I had graduated. I knew my life. I knew myself. Of course, I was like navigating who I am as a wife and marriage, but it really sort of like turned everything upside down. But going back to how it made me focus so much on like time and energy, it also made me change my creative process in a lot of ways because, well, first of all, I was so tired from nursing and taking care of baby and just recovering that it was impossible to be creative when you're tired, which had never happened to me before. Like I was never not inspired. I never didn't feel like I had access to my creativity. And it was the first time where I didn't. Like I couldn't access it. I didn't even want to. I just didn't. And so in a lot of ways it made me question who I was, or like made me keep wanting to go back and try to find it in superficial ways that didn't work. And when I finally did turn a corner and I was like well rested enough where like things started to come back to me again, I was like, okay, what do I want to do with this now? And, up to now, everything that I've designed has been like I've wanted to democratize good design. Like I've wanted to cater to a specific market, to a specific price point. And weirdly, it's made me shift where I'm like, okay, well, I only want to make like a handful of things. And I don't know if I want to make hundreds of them or thousands of them. Like maybe I want to make 5 of them. And I want them to be like the most beautiful, excellent, like the highest form of creation, whatever that thing can attain. And I only want to focus my energy there. So that's been interesting because it sort of moved me out of like where I've been. And so that's shifting.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're sometimes it means the process needs to evolve.
Yes.
And you don't, instead of taking away from the creativity of it all, you're just limiting how much you have to create.
Yes.
So again, like it's that play with time, which is, I think, is so important. You and Russell, honestly, well, there's nothing limited about his clothing brand, but I do think that the purpose, the purpose-driven mission that each of you have, you share a similar mission, which is to hit that price point and make sure that your clothing and your jewelry are accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
And just to make really cool things, but impact and just, the thoughtfulness that goes behind your brands. I obviously can see with him how much work it is and how much it goes into the creative process. So I always watch and I'm like, in awe. And
I don't know how he does it as like he has a full career where he like physically needs to be available for. It's crazy. I don't know how you guys do that.
This is perfect and right up your alley because like we literally just God.
Yeah.
I don't know another way to describe him as a human. Like I don't have that energy. And the thing about Russell is that he is such a great dad. He's such a great husband. He's so attentive and he's at everything. He's present. He's like every minute of his day is planned out to a T.
Yeah.
So even though he has a really great team of people that that help to organize his life, like he's able to spend his time like every minute in the most impactful way every single day.
That's so difficult because it's beyond physical. It's like your mental capacity has to be so immaculate.
And it does. And also because of the physical nature of what he's doing, like he's physically on point and mentally on point. And there's just no way he would be able to do that if it wasn't like who he was meant to be and ordained to be by God, And he's like a little miracle. He's like a unicorn every day.
But he's also choosing it. Like he has his God-given gifts, but they don't just come to you. Like you have to live them.
No, his clothing brand is called Honor the Gift.
I know. It's crazy. But people don't realize, like, this is what I wonder. Like, people, because I didn't realize it. Like, and like, for example, like, my best friend Julie, I was telling you about.
Over here. Julie is in studio.
Yeah. Like, she said one thing to me one time, and she was like, you eat what you want to be available for. And I was like, wait, what does that mean exactly? But it's true. And when I got to a certain point, even in my career, like I remember I was trying to grow my business and I was just plateaued. Like for years, we were doing the same thing. And so I spoke to her and I was like, I'm really trying to grow my business, but I don't know how. And she was like, well, let me look at your body. And I was like, my body? I was like, why do you need to look at my body for my business? And she was like, well, I need to know if you can sustain growth. And I was like, what?
On so many levels.
But I had never associated the fact, like growing up the way that I grew up, like I had never associated the fact that what I eat would determine what I could do. And then when I did take the necessary steps to cut out the things that were no longer working for me, it was insane. Like my brain fog went away. Like so many things went away that actually did make me more available to grow. And that's when I did grow. But I was like, do people just know that? Like, does everybody on that level has to know that? Like, so sometimes when I see people in like high places that like drink soda and like do different things. I'm like, how are they there? Like how it's interesting to me.
It's so funny that you say that because a lot of people are always making fun of Russell about his diet. Because he'll be, vegetarian. He'll like he does a lot of blood work. Like I'm saying, he has a big team around him. So based on his blood work, that will determine
What he eats. Yeah.
He is the king of ordering lettuce at we go to the fanciest restaurants and I have the most delicious meals. And he's like, can you bring me out a wedge? No toppings, no dressing, and, a piece of...
Yeah.
He'll be like, can I get a 6-ounce piece of that? I'm like, please don't make them ounce out your fish. Just eat the amount and then we can take the rest home. That's so embarrassing. Don't ask for a 6-ounce piece of fish at a restaurant with a wedge on the side. But people make fun of him all the time. They're like, what are you eating over there? Your lettuce.
But that's why he is.
That's why he is who he is.
Yep.
And it's so important that, in order for him to be functioning at this optimal level all the time, there's so much work. Like you said, he chooses this and it's not by accident in any way, shape, or form.
The thing is, though, food is so emotional. Mm-hmm. There's so many foods that I want to eat so bad because they make me comfortable or they make me happy even though they're not good for me or they remind me of something. And so that's what I mean about the mental, you have to be so strong mentally to choose who you are and what your mission is and what you're meant to be doing and what level at which you want to do that at versus constantly going back to where you came from and what your parents did and all the things that are just the comfortable things that don't necessarily serve you but are comfortable.
Exactly. And that's the trick it's having that space to grow.
Yeah.
It's mental, it's physical, it's how we, how we feed our bodies. All of it is creating a capacity to grow.
Yeah.
And, this is so fun already. It really is. Okay, so, and I like your questions for me too. You have done so many ridiculous things what is it? Creative director of Foot Locker, all of your amazing collabs with Jordan Brand and Lauryn Hill and all of these really, really, really cool things that you've been able to do. And we've talked about having time and the creative space and kind of making room for opportunities. But have you ever dealt with ever feeling like you're outmatched or feelings of how am I going to do this? Why am I here? Because sometimes when I am in situations, I always take in the room. I'm that observer we talked about. And I'll be like, wow, this is insane that I'm here right now and I'm just me. And how did I get so fortunate to be in this space right now? And I feel I don't know if it's a little bit of imposter syndrome or if it's just this, maybe just not fully accepting or coming to terms with who I am and who I know myself to be. But then there's when you see it all come to fruition, which I really don't think it has yet. But have you ever dealt with those feelings of maybe not belonging or how have you kind of overcome that?
I mean, I feel that's probably going to be the thing that's it might forever be my test in a way. And I think that, I deal with a lot of those things in my spiritual practice and my journaling, and I think it's just about having a sense of self, you know? It's like when you grow up in certain environments, like in the environment that I grew up in, I don't feel like anybody ever really saw me for what I was. So I was constantly trying to fit into something that I wasn't. And when you're trying to be something that you're not, you're never going to be enough because it's just, and when that's kind of the feedback that you're always getting, it just leaves like a mark on you in a way. So, yeah, two things. I never feel like I'm enough. And one thing, I struggle with feeling like I belong. And it manifests in different ways. And I think I've gotten to this stage now where I can flag it. Like when it pops up, I'm like, oh, that's, it's funny. On your panel the other day at your benefit, Ryan was saying that she named that voice inside of her that says those things. And I went and caught her after because my friends and I have done the same thing. And mine's is Smelody. So anytime Smelody is like, I don't know if we belong here, whatever it is, I'm like, oh, okay, I know who that is. And then, so yeah, it's just something that I have to constantly catch and work on so that it doesn't, she's not the boss. Like she's not the one that's making the decisions. She's not the one that's leading the way because she's probably like my 10-year-old self. And so it's a constant practice of like bringing in my now self and being like, you know, talking to that 10-year-old and telling her that it's not like that. But it's incredible how these things manifest in millions of ways because so many times I'm like, I got it. I did that work. I'm good. And then it comes up in like a whole other way. And I'm like, are you freaking serious?
Yeah.
Like, what?
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like so many of us experience that. And like you said, I think it's always like this ongoing thing that you kind of have to learn to clock and externalize it, like you were talking about. And
yeah, like, for example, sorry, it just made me think of an example. Like my need to, like my feeling of like not feeling like I belong, for whatever reason, attracts narcissists. Because then they, like people like that want to make you feel like you're the world to them. And then obviously they switch the tables at some point because they're narcissists. But I had so many people in my life at some point that had made me feel like I was the center of their world, like I belonged to them. And I was vulnerable because that was my vulnerability. I was making friends based on that weren't really good friends. And then when I realized it, I was like, oh, I don't belong anywhere. I belong to the world. Like, I don't need to feel like I belong to you or anybody else. Like, I need to belong to me. And so it kind of forces you into like waking up and forces you into doing that inner work and being like, okay, this shit is manifesting like this. I need to like clear this out.
That's so important because I think there are so many of us who have a difficult time creating like a community when we're dealing with these types of feelings and emotions and kind of repeating these cycles and reliving the same story with different people. How have you been able to create, besides Julia, how have you been able to create this environment and build friendships and have a healthy relationship and just, you know, and pass along the things that you want to pass along to your child, having grown through this and learned all of this and experienced this with what you know now? How do you create that safe space for your relationships, and how do you know when to let people, this is a 3-part question, and how do you know how to navigate different relationships?
You love
now?
a 3-part, 4-part, 5-part question.
I know. It's like, I just want to know so much. I'm so curious.
Well, I mean, for me, It's always been pretty simple. Like growing up in LA, a lot of people have agendas. I mean, not even just in LA. I feel like everywhere you go, people have agendas with you. And I think that I can very clearly now tell the difference between like somebody that I have like a connection with, like a real connection, versus somebody that's trying to like create a connection because
manufacture one.
Whatever. Like you and I, for example, like we had a connection, in my opinion, like from jump, we had a connection. Sure. And so I've always trusted that. That's why if you ever call me, I'll come. If you ever, whatever. And if I know that because of that, I can trust you on some level. I don't think that you want anything from me.
I do.
Yeah, but
I want all of this wisdom and all of the compliments, and positive energy.
But it's reciprocal. Do you know what I mean? It's mutual.
Yep.
That's the difference.
Absolutely.
Because with a lot of people, they want all that, but then they just want it and they want more and want more and more and aren't willing to give anything in return or aren't willing to share. And those are the kinds of things that just drain. I can't.
There are givers and takers. And any good or healthy relationship, you have to be a giver and a taker.
Yes.
Because we have needs, you know. I mean, I think just even with our friendships and any kind of relationship, we kind of go through those ups and downs where sometimes you don't have a lot to give, but you need more. Yeah. But then when the tables are turned, like,
yes,
I'm going to be there when you need from me, and I'm not expecting anything in return.
And you know what? Some people aren't even like that. Like if the tables turn, I have friends like that where if the tables turn, they wouldn't be, but it's okay. Because I'm getting something else from them, or like I love them so much that there's enough room for that. Or I just know their capacity. Like you know somebody so well, you're like, oh, I know that they're not available for this, but it's okay. So as long as you're in agreement with it or you're okay with it, then it's fine. But it's really hard to find mutual relationships.
It is.
It's really hard.
I know. Trust me. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty decent. Like you said something at the luncheon, at the brunch, and I was like, you know, I love that. You said that we get to be pickers.
Oh, yeah.
For the first time as women. And I really love that so much because I do feel like I'm in a position to get to choose.
Yeah.
Like whatever it is that I want to do or be in relationship with. I think it comes with a lot of maybe pressure. I don't know if pressure is the right word, responsibility or, you know, I always feel the need to make other people feel good, regardless of if I choose them or not. So even if we don't have a close relationship or a close bond, or maybe we don't choose to be friends, I have a tendency to want people to know that if push comes to shove, like I can be there or in some capacity, in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't
That's
want
really
to be closed off towards anyone or people in general, and I don't like people to feel left out.
Yeah.
And so that is something that's always ringing in the back of my head is like, how do I include and be a part of as many people's lives as I can, this is why I'm doing this podcast.
Yeah.
You know? Because I like to be in my shell, and I have my little tight-knit group of friends and people that I love. But also I'm like, I have access to so many wonderful and incredible people.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to share my experiences and the things that help me learn and grow and the things that help to shape who I am with more people who don't quite have access to that in their in their relationships and in their lives. So
Yeah.
like this is my way to be able to do that.
I love that. I mean, it makes sense why you went into marriage and family therapy. I think it's just part of your service. It's how you serve.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, great. Okay, so
Wait, can I ask you a question? So
of course.
how did you grow up? Like, what were your parents like? Where did you grow up?
Okay, so I grew up inland in the Inland Empire. I'm not
The
from LA.
IE? What?
I'm all the way IE.
Wow.
I represent for the IE.
Wow.
And anytime I come across someone who's from the IE, see how you said that? It felt like judgment. That was the first time I felt judgment from you. Because people in LA, you guys just
We
swear.
We did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You can't help it.
We can't help it.
This is the same. My husband and I go, like, literally, we go back and forth constantly.
Wait, where's Russell from?
He's from LA.
Oh, really?
He's one of you guys.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Why did I think he was from outside of LA?
Don't tell him he's from outside of LA.
Oh, okay, I won't.
He is so LA.
So LA. Okay,
he's like you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I get that response from everybody who's from LA, like, IE, like you guys
You know what? I will say that, but actually everybody that I've met from the IE is so cool.
We're really cool.
They're really cool.
We're far removed enough from the chaos.
They're really cool.
But we know how to dip our toe in.
I know.
When
Okay.
necessary.
So how are your parents like?
I mean, honestly, I would not be who I am without my parents. I mean, they were incredible. I don't remember them ever being together. I grew up in a very healthy, divorced, like family unit. My parents always lived really close. Whether I was living at my mom's house or living at my dad's house, I would see them regularly. My dad would pick me up from my mom's house and take me to school, and pick me up from school and drop me off at my mom's house every day. So
Wow.
I had a really close relationship with both of my parents.
Wow.
Growing up. And it's probably because they separated. I was so young. They had a
How old were
lot
you?
of time to work through whatever.
How old were you?
I don't remember them together. So maybe like I was 3.
3.
My younger brother had just been born.
Wow.
And he's a couple years younger.
Wow.
So they were just great. My mom was like education. She was a book nerd. She was like in dance. She was like a cheerleader. She was the cutest, like most popular. She was in choir, and
Oh my gosh.
she was everything I'm not. Just in terms of like outgoing and personable. Everyone who meets my mom is like, oh my God, I met your mom. She's so amazing. And I'm like, I know. Everybody says that. And then my dad was a big sports guy. And he was like, he made me believe that I was the best thing since sliced bread every single day, to the point where I remember being embarrassed a lot because he would tell me how great I am. And like, obviously I appreciate it now, and it helped me. And it just the confidence and also the freedom. Like
You know what? That makes me want to cry.
Oh,
So sweet.
it's like, I think the freedom that I grew up with to just, my mom grew up in Houston. Like there were no rules. It was like, everybody is out doing their own thing, whatever. They kind of gave me that same freedom.
Yeah.
If I didn't want to go to school, like nobody was making me go to school. Like I was so responsible though.
Yeah.
I was always on time, straight A student. Like I was the best at everything. Somehow I ended up being a perfectionist, even though I had all of this freedom and support and love. Like it just helped me want to achieve. I'm also a Capricorn. So naturally I think I'm motivated. And they were just great. They were just great parents. And I had 3 brothers, so I was spoiled.
Wow. I love that. I didn't know that.
I mean, of course, we had a lot of drama also.
I mean, sure, what family doesn't?
But at the core of it,
The bones sound good.
it was really good. Yeah.
Did either of them ever remarry?
No.
Wow. Mm-mm. Are they still friends?
I mean, adjacent.
Okay.
Like, we never were like the family where we did separate things.
Yeah.
You know, they're coming to all the things. No one is excluded. Were they friends? Like, as I got older, I learned more and more that they were not friends.
Yeah.
But they worked together and they were like the best co-parents.
That's everything.
And we needed both of them, I think. The softness and from my mom and then my dad's, like, more, not firm, but like motivation. He was kind of like a hustler. He grew up in Philadelphia and kind of grew up hustling his whole life. So like that go-getter mentality.
Right.
Yeah.
That stuff you can't learn in school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Why'd you
that.
ask? That was a long story.
I love that. No, I was just curious.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just curious. Just because, you know, I grew up in such a different situation.
Do you want to talk about it?
No, I mean, there's no need, but even just culturally speaking, like, I think, like, my mom was in an arranged marriage before she, like, escaped the marriage and then ran away to the U.S., married my dad. You know, it's just, like, such different... It's interesting how we all come from such different histories and, like, how those histories play out in us and, like, inform how we...
Who we become.
Right. Yeah. So that was really beautiful. Thanks.
Thank you. And I think that wraps up the Melody Ehsani podcast.
I could breathe again.
No. So this has been really great. I love this. I feel like, and everyone says it's such an LA thing to say, we should hang out more. You don't even know how many, like, after spring break, we have to grab coffee.
Oh, God.
You don't even know how many lunches and coffees I'm slated for
I'm not going to ask
probably
you.
Never gonna happen. No. That's not what I'm saying.
You know what's interesting is, like, you're saying you have your podcast for, like, doing what you do. I feel like when I had my store and, like, when I was more participating in my brand, I would have events and, like, do things, and that's how I would, like, connect with people that I wanted to see. So those were the only times I've reached out to you. I was like, hey, do you want to come to this or do you want to come to that? And now that I haven't had that for so long, I feel like I literally don't see anybody.
Okay, so you've invited me to multiple gatherings, parties, events that you've hosted.
I've done like 2 in the last maybe 2 years or something.
I know. I wanted to come. One of them, Russell had a game or something in town.
No
like,
worries.
It was like there were both situations because I really wanted to come.
Yeah.
So I remember them because I don't really want to go anywhere normally.
She knows.
So
I'm like, maybe I should leave the house this week.
I literally just posted on Instagram. I'm like, I'm posting selfies of myself so you guys can see.
I loved it.
Like,
that you were out.
I'm
Proof.
outside.
Yeah.
I mean, half of them were inside, but
but they were outside inside.
You know, no one takes photos of me. I'm always capturing everybody else's life.
Right.
And my family. And if you're my close friends.
I'm that person. Yeah, I see
So
yours.
I, like, every Sunday, I feel like I post for all my friends and family, all my kids.
I was like, where's my photo? I should take a photo of you.
I know.
In your color.
So, exactly. Just noted. Nina has on color. But I think, like, sometimes I'm like, hey, I'm here. And I take selfies randomly.
Yeah.
To document my life.
Proof of
life.
Concept, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, before we finish, not that we need anything else, we're going to play Do Tell card game.
Okay.
Essentially, I'm going to ask you, you're going to pick a card and it's really easy and answer the question.
Okay.
We'll keep it
Let's
super
see.
simple.
What does having a good life mean to you? Well, having a good life to me is being healthy, waking up every day and doing the things that I love and that move me forward, feeling like I'm connected to something bigger than me, that I'm not just an island. Like, I feel like I'm a part of a bigger plan. There's like interconnectedness. I love confirmations and signs. Like, whenever I feel like I'm in that sort of alignment, that's when I feel like I'm that's part of having a good life. And community, I think to me, family and community is everything. Like, I don't care where I am or what I'm going through. If I have the right people around me, I'm good.
Yep.
Like, so good.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Are you going to answer it too?
I feel like I knew you were going to ask
Or are you
me
going to pick your own one?
I feel like I should pick my own. I don't know
Okay.
if I can follow the same question as you. I'll just blindly choose this one. Damn it. I've answered this question already on the podcast.
Okay, then
I feel like
do
I'm going
this
to get a
for the
different
next
one.
one.
It was when is the last time you felt butterflies?
Aw.
It really wasn't that crazy of an answer. And it was inappropriate, probably. Who are you with when you feel most like yourself?
That's a good one.
Yeah. There's so many people.
Really? You are so lucky.
I am.
You are so lucky.
I am. It's because remember that like you get to pick things. Like, I only want to be around people that I can just be my authentic self
Your
with.
whole self.
Like, I want to say whatever I want to say. I don't want to be judged. I want you to know it comes from a place of love.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel insecure about sharing my thoughts and opinions and feelings about anything.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to be truthful in my relationships and not just talk about what's on the surface, but like really get in there.
Yeah.
And I want like I like that to be a mutual thing. So I feel like all of my friends and my family, like that, again, the community thing, I have really good friends and I have an amazing husband and my mom. Those are probably my two people.
Yeah.
My mom and my husband, and they're as safe as I am with them. It's like children, you know, how children misbehave the most with probably their moms, number one, and then their kid. What are you? Like Robert is laughing at me. They misbehave the most with their mom, and then their dad second, I think, or they're just, you know. Like, my kids tantrum a lot with me. So, essentially, those are my two. Like, I will go cray-cray with my mom and Russell in both a good way and a probably not great way.
I love that.
So, that's it. It's
That's
a wrap.
amazing.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
This
you
has
so
been
much
so
for
fun.
having me, Nina.
Okay.
Thanks. Now you have to come to my house.
Exactly.
Yes.
We'll leave the cameras here. I'll bring Detail. Well, you'll have Detail card game.
Yes, I'll get it.
Y'all, that was such a fun conversation. I really love Melody. I feel like she calms out and mellows out any space. I hear that often about myself, but she is truly someone that I think just really brings the quiet confidence into any room. If you love this episode or you want to hear more episodes like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Do Tell Podcasts. I would love to hear your thoughts and feedback on today's episode. If you have any questions that you want to share, either for my guests or for myself, you can send us a DM on Benet by Nina on Instagram. You can send an audio message. You can also email us at thedotellpodcast@gmail.com. I'll see you next time.